is working out, right? You're working all these issues. Am I in the open path? Am I in the renunciation path? Am I in the right path? And please, the answer is no. You are on the road. You're not on the path. But if you are on the path, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You are climbing the ladder, right? And the ladder is narrowing and closing. I think the voice of the silence is a clear instruction to know when we are ready for the path. And that is why it's so important. Now, in the end, at the end of the two paths, in the very last, and I always, if you notice, I always talk about the last page, because my problem is sometimes I talk so much that I never get to the last page. Right? So I like to start from the beginning. It's a problem, right? So I feel closure, you know? So the very last line or paragraph on the two path, which in my book is 194. I don't know if in your book is 194. One lady told me it's not matching. So maybe it's a typo in my part. But the 194, the last paragraph, it says, behold, remember behold, always with the eye of contemplation. Behold, always with your inner eyes. Always. Otherwise it will say, watch, look, right? See this. But behold is very special. In the stanzas of Dhyan, cosmogenesis, there are 4 beholds. They're extremely important because it says stop and look with your eye of contemplation. It's a dhyana moment. Behold, the goal of bliss and the long path of woe are at the farthest end. He's saying you, I have explained to you both paths. You move from the road to the path. And behold the two paths. I have given you the teachings. Correct? Behold, the goal of bliss and the long path of woe. Is that what that? Woe. Woe. So we're looking at two paths. Bliss or woe. Correct? Behold it. Got to see it with your inner eyes. And in that moment, the inner soul, this is the voice of the silence talking to you. Correct? At the very end, the voice of the silence will tell you, behold, bliss, renunciation. Thou can choose either. That is the moment, crucial moment. You can choose either one. You're ready. You're ready to choose. Full enlightenment, nirvana, or renounce to it. That is the moment. It's a crucial moment. And all what we study is to get to that moment. When we can hear now the voice of the silence, not telling us about the road, not telling us about the path, it's all given to us. And in this moment, the choice is coming. You see that? Our choice. And how many people are next to us? None. We are alone. So I won't have Susan. Susan, what do you think? You know? Or Aaron, should I? You know, Herman, you are right there. You got all the teachings. You travel the road. You help people. You help yourself. You've done all this. You clean your heart. What else are you going to do? Now you have to choose. Isn't that an incredible moment? This is the most mystical moment. Few will choose renunciation. Yet, in that very moment, when you move the page, it says, well, now comes the real teachings. the 7 paramitas. You see that? Now that you have said, yeah, I want to do it, I want to renounce, okay, let's study the paramitas. And that's what we're going to do in the afternoon. You see the majestic moment? This is the road turned into a path. And this is reality. This is not Hollywood. This is you know, in front of yourself, in front of the most a critical moment of a human being. This is what we are born for this precise moment. When we learn all what is there to learn, and we're going to learn the 7 stages, the 7 rungs of the ladder that will take us where? Don't forget, prajna paramita, wisdom. Wisdom of what? Not going through dhyana path, the 4 paths, to, remember the 4 dhyanas? We have a choice. The 4 dhyanas or the paramitas. The 4 truths, the 4 paths, or the 7. It's up to us. This is the choice. Everything from cosmogenesis to anthropogenesis to the road to the path is to get us to this point where you have the 4-fold dhyanas or you have the 7 paramita. The choice is yours. The choice is ours. Isn't that an incredible moment? Where can you study this? Where can you read about this? No, you can't. Yet it happens. So, where? Well, you know, in for instance, the Catholic, they don't deal with that. So, when a person dies, right, and they take a look. If the person is nirmanakaya, will help, right? And it becomes a saint if there's a committee, right? And they study, oh, this person been helping for so many years, doing all this. This is a nirmanakaya, it's a saint. They may have secret teachings, we don't know, secret, right? So, but it's not, this is universal, it's everywhere. Then it's true. The Buddhists are more open to it, especially the Tibetan Buddhists. They're very open. He is an adept, he's an nirmanakaya, that teacher is going to come back. Let's look for it at the age, remember we talked about that, at the age of, I don't know what, I'm not a Tibetan Buddhist. But he's going to come back. Do you know how many don't come back after being teachers? I don't know either, so we would never know. But but some may choose not to come back. Johanna, sorry about that, it's a bad joke. But you know, we don't know. We only know the ones who they find, right? So do we assume if they don't find that teacher in that lineage, they can come back? Maybe. But some come back and wow, it is incredible. They are that teacher. You know, I've seen movies about that in YouTube. that they do remember and they do come back. So the Tibetans are very open about this. Isn't that true? The Turku story, right? And so on. It's fascinating. Fascinating. Most traditions, they keep it very secret. Till now. What is the secret of all this? To build your nirmanakaya. You got to learn how to activate the 3 bodies, the 3 robes or vestures, right? Especially that nirmanakaya. If, whoops, you activate the dharmakaya, you got it. Oops, I didn't mean it. Well, it's nirvana, you know. That's, maybe they can come back, don't know. So, but you see this, in this very moment, at the end of the 2 paths, after all is said and done, and they unveil the teaching of the 2 paths, it says, you can choose either. And then you're going to say, I'm going to choose, and say, wait, let's go through the paramitas. Isn't that interesting? Not yet. Why? If you choose, you don't know how. You don't know how to go from dhyana to prajna. This is the great moment, the great teaching. To dhyana, remember, dhyana is the turning point between those 2 paths. But prior to dhyana, dharana. That's why the voice of the silence, the road, starts with dharana or dharana. And that is what we need to really practice, concentration in our studies. If you don't know how to concentrate, you will not move farther on the road. Your mind cannot focus. Your mind cannot reach out to the wisdom, which will be prajna in the end. So far so good? Any questions? Any thoughts? Okay, I finished it. This is good. So if we don't finish all this stuff, at least I ended with the last paragraph. This is very good. You're very important. But I want to give you more the story, right? So you see the truthfulness, the complete picture. Because as we go line by line, study the voice of the silence, we might lose the whole picture. And like they say, we study each tree, but sometimes we miss the boat. What is the story of the voice of the silence? And it's an esoteric story. Yes?
Why must we begin from dharana and not from
I'm sorry. Patience. Microphone. Yes. Thank you. Because people need to hear. Otherwise I will be malinterpret you.
Okay, sorry for my English. But I would like to know why we must from dhyana of dharana and not from samadhi go to the prajna. Do you understand?
Right. My only interpretation of that, because it's a wonderful thought, is that samadhi is too close to moksha. Blavatsky described it, samadhi is almost like moksha, moksha is liberation. I think it's so easy in samadhi to just forget the seeds, forget the connection to the world and just stay there. Just stay there. The lights are so bright, the beauty of the universe is revealed. The truth is so blind, is so powerful. I'm describing Plato, the cave, right? The light is so perfect that you are so, I want to last forever. This is nirvana, you see? So you're in samadhi, a total connection. And if you don't have any seeds, any ties to the world, you forget it. So I think samadhi, it could be too late. And Blavatsky, I think, is giving us the impression, or the masters, in the voice of the silence, that the best way to capture it is in dhyana, through teaching us now prajna paramita, right? To make sure you take the turn towards the prajna paramita instead of the turn towards samadhi. Okay? Something like that. Remember, this is just an opinion, right? Anybody have, this is a very interesting thing, right? Question. Anybody has an opinion? My lady, please.
When you are in samadhi, when you are in samadhi, then you experience that all is one. So you don't have any recollection that there are people that are suffering.
Right.
Yeah?
I think so too. Yeah. That is that wonder, full of light. Everything is one. We're back to that mystery of the one, right?
Yeah.
It's well said. Yeah. Yeah. Remember when we were in the one? That was in Pralaya, right? We all there anyways. Remember Paramartha, Paranirvana. We are in that stage naturally, and Plato said that's our recollection, remembrance. We know that. Yes, it's true. I like that.
Oh. In Pralaya there is no suffering also.
No, unless people are snoring next to you, which I don't think so. I don't think monas snore or kick you. You know, that is that stage of in paranirvana, you Paramartha, it's all para. It's all incredible beyond all understanding, right?
So when we say return, to
Return.
help others, might that be not just the idea of returning from another incarnation or returning from another manvantara? One returns from the absorption in samadhi to a somewhat relative state of dharana, or still connected to
Okay, so now,
relative existence.
Right.
One returns to that to continue to have a connection to act in the world.
okay, so we move from stages, right, of awareness to a physical incarnation or field of activity.
Right.
So you return as a nirmanakaya if you die, right? Or you act to help humanity, let's say like the Dalai Lama, let's say it, right? You're incarnated and you come back and you keep helping people. And I want to use Dalai Lama, almost all of us accept that. He was found, he confirmation, right? There's a lineage. So there's stages of awareness. We know in dhyana, right? You have the choice. You move to prajna paramita and you renounce to dharmakaya. Then now you have the choice and you come back to the road to help your fellow friends and enemies and humans and animal kingdom, vegetable kingdom, humanity, nature. You come back to the road to help. If you come back to the path, they are traveling alone, right? Everybody is on their own. This is our own path. We travel to the road, which it took us forever to conquer, and now we're coming back, now to help. Now we have a mission. We go back. Is that more or less? So you were talking about stages of consciousness. Now we are in a physical, metaphysical reality of how do we help. And the great secret of all not revealed is how you manufacture or activate your nirmanakaya. That is an initiation that we are not given how to do that here. In that moment here, there's points. Every time in the voice of the silence you see dotted lines, it's because there are teachings that are not given. Right? Like the asana stage. Like, etc., etc. So you can see that there are things that they are not willing to tell us in that. Any more thoughts? It's important to have a good vision, at least, a good image of this program.
But every bodhisattva is so illuminated.
Yes, in theory, let's say. It's complicated, but yes.
The lower path.
They are the what?
That they go further.
Farther. Okay. They go into prajna paramita. Right? And they chose to benefit humanity. Yes? Back to the road. Yeah?
Yes.
You see it? You see it? Okay. Okay. So where is the end of the path? Right here. Make your choice. Because or you choose illumination, nirvana, right? Or you choose go back to the road and help, now consciously. Yeah? Okay. Something like that, right? You have to find your own image, vision, and words to explain based on the voice of the silence, which I'm taken for granted that we all agree this is it. This is a good manual of instructions, of a vision or an image of the road to the path, to the comeback. We all agree that. We're all students of theosophy, right? So using this vocabulary, now we expand. Now we look beyond these words. We can add more, but it has to be on a foundation that we can all agree, right? Because if we think differently, maybe it's a wrong image. And that is a false belief and a false teaching that will take us nowhere. The Mahatma says, beware, in one of the letters, beware of false teachings. And a false teaching may be consciously or unconsciously. if people do that, and I try not to fall in that, is to, if for me makes sense, it should be true. And that is not true sometimes, maybe most of the time. You know what I mean? If for me it's logical, maybe I think it's true and I write books and I sell those books and I teach about that. Maybe it's a false belief. What is wrong with false beliefs? Nothing if you teach ethics. Correct? If it's based on ethics, nothing bad happens. Why? Well, we are on the road. But what we want is to teach a vision that includes the ethics of the road and the right path. You see that? Because we are humans, you know, we all make mistakes. So, as long as we don't make people suffer, suffering is very important. We don't cause suffering with our false beliefs, right? Like a cult, you know, Jim Jones cult, right? That was a lot of suffering he caused. Maybe some ethical teachings along the way, but in the end, horrible karma. You remember the Jim Jones incident in Guyana, where he killed thousands of people, an American guy in the Guyana, right? Things like that, you know. And people say there was a lot of good ethics on it, but at the very end, they drank poison with Kool-Aid because the government was investigating that. This is really bad. You see what I mean? So we need to recognize that, and especially in a world that everything is possible, all kind of ideas. Look, since Socrates, their emphasis in this school of wisdom, because I include Pythagoras and Plato and so on into the theosophical movement and the Neoplatonists, like Blavatsky said. And from that time, they were very careful with the sophists and with the false beliefs. Right? False beliefs. So, in my opinion, the best way to deal with that is foundation. To have a good foundation and expansion. Right? Expansion. You good with this? Okay. So knowing that at the end of the two paths, we're going to have the moment of choice, but then comes the explanation of the paramitas. Let's look at some of the thoughts along the teachings on the path. In the open path, for instance, and we got to recognize this. It says here, step out from sunlight into shade to make rooms for others. The tears that water the parched soil of pain and sorrow, this is our road, right? Bring forth the blossoms and the fruits of karmic retribution. This is very important. So when we help ourselves and others, there is something good about that. Yet, out of the furnace of men's life and its black smokes, winged flames arises, flames purified, that soaring onwards beneath the karmic eyes, weave in the end the fabric glorified of the three vestures of the past. This is, if we could have an insight, and by that I mean Dharana and Dhyana, into this line 140, we should be able to come out of how we activate or weave the three vestures. You follow what I'm saying? The teaching is not giving us, but a glimpse, an image of it, powerful image. Can we relate to it? Can we concentrate on this and in a moment of contemplation understand how to weave in the end and build the three vestures? This is what's going to make us or a person in nirvana by dressing in the Dharmakaya robe, sublime, or activating Nirmanakaya and staying here and renouncing to this beautiful robe of Dharmakaya. You know what I'm saying? It's not teaching us how to do it, but it gave us a vision of it. Now, if you look at this, can you get how you're going to do it? Do you understand in fullness? If you do, you are enlightened. Because this is it. This is it. If you don't, you work it out. This is a very powerful moment when you are building your 3 robes. Yes? We got it? Nirmanakaya will give you back to the road. Dharmakaya will take you to nirvana. Moksha, liberation, nirvana. Is that understood? This is the teaching, right? So we got to have the vocabulary at the same time. We need to be in sync with this idea. So far so good? Yes?
Can you repeat it?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you repeat it?
Yes.
The 3 robes.
Yeah. We're going to see them in a minute and more tomorrow. But the 3 robes are not 3 dresses that we buy in the market. We understand that. They are not physical, they are metaphysical. And they are related to the 3 bodies that we have within, based on the 7 principles that we are made of. Right? So, if you want to know more about the 3 bodies that are in charge of this, there is an article called The Dialogue Between 2 Editors, Blavatsky and Mabel Collins, that deals exclusively with this. Not of these 3 robes, but the 3 vestures or bodies, not principles, but bodies that are going to be what you are going to make it splendor, right? They are not dull and weak and like we have them now. They are in us already. So we got to, if you like the occult part of theosophy, this is how you deal with, you look for references. This is one very beautiful, very powerful. Questions and answers between Mabel Collins and Madame Blavatsky on the 3 bodies. Please study that, very careful, right? The astral form, the Mayavi, Rupa form, and so on. And then she mentions the Nirmanakaya and so on. Try to tie all those and make a vision of how it works. In the end, we get to the point that is through this pain and sorrow and the fruits of karmic retributions and merits, the blossoms and the fruit of helping others, right? And through this pain and sorrow of the road, this road is so important. And out of that, you know what furnace is? It's the furnace of an alchemist with fire, where you turn things into other things, right? In the furnace. Have you seen that? Some of you may be alchemists in previous life. Now it's not that cool. But the furnace is where you do the great work, right? And in that furnace of karmic helping others, right? And it's called here poetically men's life. And all that black smoke, you're burning all that karma, right? And the winged flames arises, that black crow, incredible. And the flames are purified, beneath the karmic eye. Have you seen the karmic eye? It's in the dollar bill, right? There's a pyramid, and they don't have a dollar bill. Okay. I have one. Poor guy. So it's that eye of Horus, right? The eye of providence, right? There is a this is Masonic, right? There is a truncate pyramid, an eye on the dollar bill, and that eye is watching you. It's watching you. It's that karmic eye. So when you spend the dollar, you know, it's watching you. Are you spending that for the benefit of humanity, or you buy chocolate? So I let her buy the chocolate, you know, so I don't get that karma. So out of that, you know, beneath the karmic eye, nothing escapes the karmic eye. You got to feel that. When you feel that, you change. While you think this is a little children's story, nothing happens in your life. You're not connected. The universe is not organic to you. The moment you feel that everything you do is beneath the karmic eye, this is the magic. You weave in the end the fabric glorified of the three vestures. Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. Robes of life. Isn't that beautiful? So this is the moment of magic. More questions? We got to be connected with this paragraph. These paragraphs tell us a story that is beyond. You will not. I don't. Maybe in esoteric Buddhism, not the book from Sinet, but the real esoteric school of Buddhism, they'll teach more. But here is what we got. Because most of us, even then, most of us are on the road, right? But this is a very important one.
Martin?
Yes.
It seems there that the three fabrics are composed there. And to my understanding, it's depending on the choice which fabric you create. Can you tell something about it?
I'm sorry, will you say that again?
Reading neath the karmic eye, weave in the end the fabric, glorified of the three vestiges of the path. That implies that the three fabrics are built there.
Yes. And which one you're going to activate?
Okay, you still then have to
In
activate
which
one.
Yeah. Now you still need to go now to the paramitas, right?
Thank you.
And you still, because if you are in dhyana and you do 1, 2, 3, 4, you are in samadhi and you activate this. It's all in you, right?
Then one of these fabrics has to be ready.
Exactly. They are ready, but they are not active. So to speak, this is my little story, right? They are ready. They were ready here. You work it out. You know. You are on the path, right? And in that moment, when you have the choice, they're ready for you. So which one you put on? You put the beautiful one for the party, full of light, right? Or you put the one that you're going to suffer like hell. Which one? Because you're back to the road, right? Back to the cave, and they may even kill you, right? Right? I mean, it's not you, but you'll see something like that, right? You got to find your own little story in this, right? So you can see it. In the end, you're going to purify more and more, fine-tune it till you become, I'm sure, a Nirmanakaya. And then come and help me, please. Thank you.
Of course I don't know either, but I imagine that even when you choose the path of Bodhisattva, you receive a trust and protection by the light beings who are feeding you, who are protecting you.
Okay.
So I think it is partly woven by yourself, by your compassion, by all your good deeds and thoughts. Dus I think you partially weave it yourself, but you also receive it from above. So I think it is a collaboration. It comes together.
Okay.
So,
and you heard what she said?
I think
that even the divine beings come and give you the robe, right? With your help, you're ready to receive it. But this is a mystical vision, right? I mean, this is your personality saying that. And what I understand is the Deva's part of me, the higher self, is my Dhyan Chohan, right? So it's all the same. That's a beautiful story. and it's as true as mine, because we don't know in the end, like you said. But there is a magic here, right? And that magic, no matter how it happens, and I think we weave it ourselves, right? Weave in the end, right? It could be by others. So we don't need to argue how that happens. But at this moment, they are there. And why? Because you earn it, right? By merit. The blossoms and the fruit of karmic retribution. See that? So regardless how it happens, whether little angels full of flames and eyes and wings come and give it to us, or the Anjohan in the full splendor give it to us, or it's half and half, it's all the same. We earn it, correct? Yeah, that's a beautiful story. Anybody else? No? Okay. The Shanga robe, this is what?
It is.
Oh, it is. Okay. It is true, can purchase light eternal. The Shanga robe alone gives the nirvana of destruction. You understand the words? You done. It stops rebirth. But Lanu, it also kills compassion. See that? This is the pitch of theosophy. This is the key here. This is all the trouble of giving us the voice of the silence, is to get to the point of realization. You have them all three. But the Shanga robe, you will, and these are hard words, because you work really hard for them, going all this, can purchase eternity, right? It gives you nirvana, which destroys everything, stops rebirth. You don't go to Devachan and come back. That's it. You're done. You graduated till the next cycle. But it also kills compassion. No longer can the perfect Buddha, who donned Dharmakaya glory, help men's salvation. Alas, is that how you pronounce it? Alas? Alas, shall self be sacrificed to self, mankind, and unto the will of unity. What will? Will is a cry. The cry of...
Do.
No, will. Okay. English is tough. Being. Okay. So the idea is that on the open path, remember, these are the teachings of the open path. Remember, you color-coded them, I cut and pasted it, right? And on the open path, it says that this is how you met them, and if you choose the Dharmakaya, the benefit of that is light eternal, nirvana. You have destroyed all your compassion. You will not come back, right? And you will not help humanity. That's what it is.
Well-being.
The well-being, thank you. The okay. Okay. So you got the vision. This is the teaching of the open path, which most of us are going through. I hope we change that. Know, O beginner, this is the open path. The way, I don't know if you can read these little letters. Can you? Yeah.
I have a question about the last one.
Let me see if I can, I think it's the other way. Oops. No. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, this
Do I
is
need a
the,
microphone or?
I'm sorry, other way.
Yes.
Now.
I was just wondering, because the context, it starts with the karmic retribution
Okay.
and the blossoms and the fruits of karmic retribution, and then it follows with this furnace, and afterward you see the sentence about weaving, in the end, the fabric glorified of the three vestures of the path. And I was wondering, do you weave this with all of your life's
karmic retribution, so that the entire road of your life, in the end, kind of results in one of those vestures. Should I see it like that?
It could be. It could be. Hard to say. No, I have weaved so little. I haven't even bought the thing. You know? So that is an important question, and that's a vision that your question gave you, right? Your question gave you a vision of a possibility. The answer is, so when you have an important question, be Platonist. Go in the negative. What if it's not true? Is it my last thought that will do? Is my last action? Or is all my life? You know what I mean? Plato sometimes uses the path of the negative. What if it's not true? Or what if that? So, in my opinion, yes, 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 but in the end you can change. Yes? So I do believe that all our path, all our lives now, is reflected in that moment. And we can change at any time, because we have some sort of free will, right? Because in a moment it says, choose that way. You have it. It brought you here. This is why I started this seminar by saying, what we know brought us here. We need something fresh, something new to move us harder, push us harder, move us farther, push our way, show us what compassion means, show us more teachings, open our eyes, right, to see more so we can advance. Otherwise we're stuck. I'm not saying physically, I'm saying spiritually. Yes, you were going to say something.
Yeah, it seems to me that all that we have resolved comes to form what we end up being. That the mystery of the path is not an other, something that we're necessarily always looking for. It's with us at every moment. And it has to do with the choices and the resolutions that we make. Where it takes us, it's an ongoing process. Where it takes us in the end, there's choice involved. But it seems to me, I can relate to what you're thinking.
So it's a very good point. So let's do the following. Let's take 10 minutes to relax, okay? This is very heavy because my hope is that your inner life is now flashing into your mind and reviewing all your karmic retribution. This is the moment in the Egyptian Book of the Dead that you are in the scale. Do I deserve this? And when you read this, that is what's happening. Let's take 10 minutes, come back, and continue because this is divine wisdom. And then you too, you want to say something before we come back. Please, 10 minutes, relax. You have oxygen? Yes. Yes, you have oxygen. That also means you have questions that I remember we left before the break. So, who had Igmar?
Yes, I could add something about
The one
three
before?
vestures. Yeah. Because one of the stories is that the Buddha could manifest through each of these vestures. So he had all the vestures ready, and he could choose when he went to preach if he used this Dharmakaya. But then no one understood him because he was one with the Absolute. Or he could choose his Nirmanakaya vesture, and then everyone could understand him because he was able to speak at the level of his audience. So you can imagine what it means that they are vestures. They are, of course, vestures of the type of consciousness that we can develop. So,
Thank you.
maybe that.
No, thank you. Thank you. Daniel? No, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, about 142. Yeah. sorry, 142, also kills compassion if you reach the nirvana stage of that. The question is, it's one thing is killing compassion, and other things would be something like obliteration of earthly concerns.
I see.
There is a subtle difference between both.
Okay.
Could you comment on that?
Yeah, I want to be very literal here, because that's what the voice of the silence tells us. So my analogy is, and Blavatsky uses the analogy that as at the end of Manvantara we go to Pralaya, and we are in a state of absorption in the one, and so I add, without any earthly concern, any compassion for anything, because it's all inaction, right? Inaction in the sense of there is no manifestation, no activity. So, analogy, right? So, in the moment of arriving, let's say, in nirvana, there is no earthly concern, like you said, you know, nothing bothers, which, morally speaking, right, in the voice is saying, like, you have no compassion for anybody, because you're one with the whole, right? You are in full light, you are in like pralaya, right? In between two stages, you will come back, so to speak, on the next Manvantara, because this is a manner of pralaya. You follow my vocabulary? Mm-hmm. So, your concern with the road is gone. And who is in the road? Oh, people like me that need so much help. You know, people like the whole world that need so much help. So this is the point. It's very blunt, right? By saying killing, we spoke about those words, right? But he's saying there is no concern. You are light. You are in pralaya till you come back and you continue. We have to always come back. That is the theosophical teaching. We haven't finished. When do we finish? Starts with an end. Never. Never. It starts with an end. Don't forget end. Never. It never ends. This is a long, long, long journey. It never began, it never ends. We can comprehend that. Right? How can a journey has no beginning and no end? It's one of the most incredible philosophical teachings. There is no beginning or end. Therefore, in between two periods of activity, that's what it means. If you look from the compassion point of view, which is the topic, right? There is no compassion. That's what it means. That's what it means. So you just keep the word that is pralaya, right, so to speak. Did I see a hand? Yes, please. Yeah.
I have a question about 194.
The end, I like that.
Yes.
We covered the end. You see how smart I am? We covered the last one because we won't have a chance to get there. Okay, which is a good thing.
So there it is about the choice between the goal of bliss and the path of woe. At the furthest end, so suggesting a moment, but then it says, thou canst choose either, or aspire to sorrow, throughout the coming cycles. So I thought that more suggests a sort of continuous choice.
Very good point.
What do you think?
Throughout the coming cycles, and then ta-ta-ta-ta.
Yeah.
So that means that there is more there, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the coming cycles. So what you are implying, if I can say, is that your choice today has repercussions tomorrow. I believe that. I believe that. Why? Because the skandhas, analogy, of today's choice also is going to color your choices tomorrow on new bodies, on new shapes, etc. But I'm still a firm believer on redemption and free will. So I think at any moment, let's say that you choose today liberation, right? That will color when you come back in the next cycle, right? Let's say in Brazil, right? That's what Blavatsky said, right? The next 6 root race is in Brazil. Something like that, she said. You remember that? So, well, she said that. But let's say you come back and then you say, oh, well, I change. I think you could. I think there is no redemption in that sense. There is always a possibility of change. But yes, there is something like that. Yeah. Follow up?
Yeah. So you could also turn it around and say, in essence, it is already the choices we make now that are helping in the choice we have to make at the furthest end.
Yes. You are adding to the narrative, and that's very good. But based on this, then you expand, amplify. Very good. This is how I work. I continue the narrative to fill the gaps. So your question and comment is a vision. Maybe it's like that, right? Maybe it's like that. Remember, now it's hypothetical. We don't know. But it's important because our choices are responsible choices. We have to be responsible with what we do, right? How many times we have said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to say this, only a few minutes later, why did I choose this? Why did I say that? Isn't that true? This is our life, our human drama. Now, this is big drama because this is the end of the path of a human being, right? So it could be. I think that there are also ideas in this 2 paths about changing your mind. I cannot find it now, but I think that there is something about that. So I think that yes. Go ahead. The microphone. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I add perhaps something about this?
Yeah.
The Prajeka Buddha has the idea he has to reach a goal, nirvana. And nirvana is a reality as a goal for the Prajeka Buddha. So there is a beginning and an end.
Right.
And the Buddha of compassion works not for a goal, not even for paranirvana. So the Buddha of compassion has not, I have to go to Amsterdam or whatever. So how many cycles it will be,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
it needs to liberate all living beings, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yes, we don't look at cycles.
Good.
Is that a good?
I think that's a good point too. That's a good point too. As the Buddha of compassion liberates human beings, they are in nirvana. As the Buddha of compassion liberates people, right, and they are in the open path, they go to nirvana, right? Are they Pratyeka Buddhas by being in nirvana? Are they all Pratyeka Buddhas? Don't know. There's so much we don't know, right? So, do we get the title of Pratyeka Buddha just by being in nirvana from the open path? Everybody's going in the open path. That's what it says that. And every bodhisattva or Buddha of compassion goal is that, to help people in the open path. Why? Because they are on the road suffering. And there's so much suffering here that... So there's a lot of mysteries here. That's why I ask you, please meditate on this. Please find ways to fill those dots based on the text. Right? So let's see some lines. We have a few more minutes till the end of this, and then in the next hour we're going to work on the paramitas. And like in here, in 147, it says, yet if the doctrine of the heart is too high wind for thee. If thou needst help thyself, see that? Fearest to help, fearest to offer help to others, then thou of timid heart, be warned in time, remain content with the high doctrine of the law. Right? There is a law. It's either or. It's very interesting vocabulary, right? But it says, for if the secret path is unattainable this day, it is within thy reach tomorrow. You see that? Learn that no effort, this is very important line. Learn that no efforts, not the smallest, whether in right or wrong direction, can vanish from the world of causes. This is, I found this very good. So you are on the path, you can make it, you come back, you continue in the path, and you fight it. Tomorrow you can choose renunciation. You are in the paramitas, right? You fall, you fall, you fall. In 7 lives you may say, oh, okay, I renounce to nirvana. It's so cool. I like that. I like that. And there is something about the pepper plant, but I'm not into cooking, so we're not going to see the last line, the pepper.
Can you use your pointer? Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Can you use your pointer?
So they know what I'm reading?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I am here now. Very helpful, huh? I'm ready to help everyone. But you see what it said? For if the secret path is unattainable this day, it is within thy reach tomorrow. See that? Because learn that no efforts, not the smallest, whether in right or wrong direction, can vanish from the world of causes. It's very interesting. There is so much here. It's so beautiful. It's incredible. This is very, oh wow. The way to final freedom is within thyself. Why? He's saying that. Because a lot of people is looking at outside you. Right? I want to go to Kathmandu. Right? Get my final freedom. I want to find a guru out there to tell me. I want to... No, it's within thyself. And self here, and very important, is all capital letters. Right? Why? It's the union of Atma with the totality is your final freedom. And that is the path of liberation. See that? You detach from the world, there is no more devachan, right? There is, your shell is gone, you don't go through a period of gestation, and there you go into the nirvana. That way begins and ends outside of self, is within thyself. It's so incredible. Please study this really well and meditate on this a lot. There's so much. If you are confused or you have any question, you have your study groups. Share it. We are on the same road to the path. We're all students of theosophy. You want to email me? Of course. Leiderman@mac.com. It's so simple. And so on. So contrasting the path, the book has also a lot of contrasting one and the other, right? And we have read some of that. These are the numbers. Remember, if you want, you will be able to download this presentation, but it's a copy and paste of the book, so it's only something that will help you by grouping some lines. On the secret path, it says the path is one, remember? Yet at the end twofold, marked by stages by 4 and 7. 4, we went over that, the 4 dhyānas, right? You remember the one before that? Are you going through the 4 dhyanas or are you going through the 7 paramitas? Right? It's either or. You are in the Yoga Sutras or you are in my paramitas. Right? So you have the 4 and 7 portals, and from the dhyana you go to samadhi and moksha. At one end, bliss immediate, it's so cool. The other, bliss deferred, which is impressive. Right? It's a holy moment. The one becomes the two, the open and the secret. Be careful with names, so tie them all, right? And here is the formula. When to the permanent the when to the permanent is sacrificed the mutable, see if you can follow this, the price is dying. The drop returns where it came from. The open path leads to the changeless change, nirvana, the glorious state of absoluteness. It's not the absolute. Absoluteness. So be careful how you translate this into Dutch. In Spanish, we don't have the word absoluteness. So sometimes people write the state of the absolute, and then we go back to the absolute, and they need me. And so it becomes very anthropomorphized. You see that? That's the first path is liberation, the second is renunciation. So when you sacrifice the mutable to the permanent, the lower self to the higher self, you got it. And this is what Patanjali did. Learn how you do that. And that. The price is yours. This is what is called very mechanical. It's not, but you sacrifice the lower self, you live in the higher self, that's it. 4 dhyanas, and you're done.
Can I ask, what's the difference between the absolute and the absoluteness?
Were you here in Cosmogenesis? No. Where were you? Where were you? This is a beautiful question. If I had 10 minutes, I can explain to you. But it's very impressive. Have you read The Secret Doctrine? You are perfect. Okay. It's sorry about absoluteness, but it's in the text. Right? But very quick, because you need an answer, right? The state of absoluteness is the universe in pralaya. When it's all dark, because symbolically, because there is no activity. So our one all, the universe, turns into nothingness, absoluteness, and appears to be like the absolute. It's an appearance. It has the quality. What is the absolute? This universe is in space, right? You see that? It will grow to a moment and will stop and come back, right? But that's in space. What's outside that? Blavatsky called it space, the absolute. Unchangeable, unmutable, unthinkable, unspeakable, and I want to stop. Once you reach unspeakable, you stop. Right? But you see that? But our universe, which grows from one point to the circle as much as it can, and then comes back. In pralaya, which means at rest, appears like the absolute. So we call it, Blavatsky call it, a state of absoluteness. And she gives it a Hindu name, Parabrahman. You see that? Parabrahman. And that is our universe in a state of absoluteness. The absolute has no names, it has a color, dark, right? Or dull, dark, or it has a name, absolute, or a vision, space, and that's all. Yeah. The whole secret doctrine is about absoluteness, the Parabrahman. And she only mentions absolute in one line, right? And everything else is absoluteness. It's the one all in pralaya. More or less? Very impressive, isn't it? Okay, thank you. So the secret path leads the Aran to a mental woe, unspeakable. Don't believe that. No, be cheerful. You have 7 more lives. Right? If you remember that. So, look at this. The open way, no sooner thou hast reached its goal, will lead thee to reject the bodhisattvic body. You see that? And make thee enter the thrice glorious state of Dharmakaya, which is oblivion to the world and man forever. But the secret way leads also to that paranirvanic bliss, but at the close of Kalpa, when everything ends, right? Because you're going to renounce to that bliss. Isn't that beautiful? All this allows us to complete the story that is given us. What's very interesting at one point, 189, is the teacher says, thou hast the knowledge now concerning the 2 ways. That thy time will come for choice. Will come for choice. You see that? We are at the end. Why? It ends in 194. So we know we're at the end. O thou eager soul, when thou hast reached the end and passed the 7 portals. So it's telling us that you're going to be ready, really, when you pass the 7th portal. We're going to try to do that at 4 o'clock. If I have this right. Yeah, it's at 4 o'clock. And it's coming really fast, right? In the meantime, we're going to take a break, the fruit of rest, and leave. So, you see that? Now, there are, like Johanna spoke about the Pratyeka Buddha, right? And remember, in our school of theosophy, we want to promote, we need this compassion. We got to have people in the secret path. We want people to renounce to the bliss of nirvana because there is so much suffering. And you know that because not only we suffer, but we have news. We have eyes seeing that on TV and newspapers, friends, and we need so much. There is so much ignorance, suffering, that they need each of us. And in our way is the way of the virtues, the paramitas, that in the end, hopefully, you reach the state of bodhisattva. So far, so good? And for that, for others' sake, this great reward yield accomplishes the greater renunciation. And you have to have a lot of patience. Patient heart. Of course, we need to gain the siddhis, we know that. The higher siddhis in this case. These are the be able to see, to hear, to know, to comprehend the truth, and so on, so on, so on. At the very end, remember what happens. That I just going to go to the last slide again, right? And the very last line is, the goal of bliss and the long path of woe are at the farthest end. Thou can choose either, O aspirant to sorrow. This is our hope, right? Throughout the coming cycle. Om Vrashnapari, Vashnapani Om. He will protect our path, which is within us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin.
We're going to take a break.